Hi everyone, welcome. Today we're going to do about a quick 20-minute mindful movement strength training series. So how I'd like to do today is with a little bit of dumbbell work, or if you have soup cans at home or sealed up water bottles, you could use those as well. I'm going to present it as a 101 beginner strength training. That doesn't mean you might have to modify a few things or make it work for your body. So just keep in mind, you know what works best for you. And I'm obviously teaching to an entirety of people and nobody's the same. So take good care of yourselves as we move along through this. It's going to include a squat, a hinge, which using the hips will hinge, and then a push and a pull, a small rotation through the thoracic spine, and then as well as we'll do one abdominal exercise while we're on the floor, just for good measure. So before we get started, what I'd like you to do is just start to move in place. So if you're just rolling out of bed, you might have to take a longer warm-up. But for this, if you've been running around through the day, you might just kind of find your feet, march it out, feel your feet on the ground a few times, and then maybe you land and take a few big arm circles. So all I'm doing is reaching and really lifting up and out of my shoulder and out of my side body. Do a couple more here. Okay, let's do one more. Each side, big reach up and around and up and around. Good. From here, take your hands to your lap and sliding your hands down your lap, maybe until right above the knee joint. We're just gonna cat round. So you're gonna tuck the pelvis, look towards your lap, and then cow forward, extending the spine, lifting the tail. Cat round, tuck the pelvis, draw the chin towards heart, and then extend the spine by drawing the heart forward, lifting the tail, separating sits bones. One more. So just a little flexion of the spine here with that cat round, and an extension forward with the heart and a lift of the tail. Good. Press right into the feet and rise up, swing the arms, and let's just do a little bit of a leg swing here. So I'm just standing on my right leg, swinging my left. You can choose which one works for you. You might even hold on to something while you do this. Just loosening up that hip here, and then we'll go to the other side. Stand, start to swing that other leg. Like I said, you can maybe put your hands on a wall or a countertop would be nice. Just swinging the leg side, side. Couple more here. Good. And then go ahead and march back and go right into a straddle position here. We're going to lean to the left and lean to the right a little bit. And then just start to add an arm reach the same direction. So you're going to reach out. Reach out. You might feel a little inner thigh opening on this. Good. We'll do two more here. Reach and reach. And then go ahead, walk it back in, and then firm your feet. Okay. So we're going to start to choose some weights we want to use for this set. First set is squat. Before we go to the weights, let's just go over what this looks like, because this is a 101. Strength training. I've got my feet about hip width apart. All you're going to do is pretend you're sitting back and down into a chair and really think about light in the toes, heavy in the heels, and then press and stand. So let's do two more, just finding what this looks like in your body. Down and up. Sometimes the toes might want to come open a little bit on this, depending on your hips. When your toes are open, if you can get a little more lowering of the hips, that might be a good place for you to start. So we'll find two weights that you'd like to start with. Picking up two weights. Less is more at the beginning. We'll be doing 8 repetitions. You could load the weights right in front of the chest, under the collarbones, like so. Or you could even place them on the shoulders here. Get into your position again for your squat. On an inhale, we're just gonna go lower, lower, lower. And then on an exhale, we're gonna press away. We're gonna inhale down and exhale up. Good, so first set, right into it. Use the weight that you think is appropriate for you. Obviously, you can do several sets of this. I'm going to demonstrate one set with you, making this a quick video, but you could run through this video twice, and then you'll have 2 sets, and you can increase the weight as your body adapts to this. So what does that mean? You might feel like at the beginning it's pretty hard if you haven't been strength training. And then as you continue, giving yourself breaks in between and days off in between. Let's do one more squat. You're gonna notice it might feel easier to do. Go ahead and come on up, shake out the legs. That's when you would either increase the weight or you might add on a couple more repetitions. There's a lot of different ways we can program a strength training routine. So those are just a couple of the basics. Next thing we're gonna do is what's called a pull exercise. We're gonna use our back muscles. I'm just gonna stay with the same dumbbells. I'm gonna step 1 foot forward and 1 foot back in a little bit of a lunge. And then I'm leaning the trunk of my body forward a little. The weights are in my arms. And then my shoulders are gonna be back and down. We're gonna pull the elbows back. Hands may end up around the hip area or the low rib. And then bring it down. It's an exhale, pull, inhale, down. Exhale, pull, good, inhale, down. So I've got 1 foot forward. This is number 4, it's your halfway. So I'm just gonna swap out my feet. Join me if you would like. Step, step, and 4 more pull. So this is just a basic row. Trying to use the back muscles to give it a nice strong pulling action. And then a slow lowering on the inhale, return, 2 more. And then down. And then another pull. Good. And then down. All right. Go ahead, shake out the legs a little bit. Let's put the weights down for now. At any time you can pause, grab a drink of water, catch your breath, whatever works for you. I'm gonna demonstrate a hinge action. We're gonna try to use the hips to do this action. All it is, take your hands to your thighs again. As you start to slide your hands down your legs, think about your hips being drawn back and your head leveling out over the floor here. And then you're gonna push into your feet and lift back up. So once again, we're gonna hip hinge back. You might get a sense of hamstrings and glutes stretching. You might bend the knees to accommodate for that if you need to unload a little bit of that. And then push into the feet to come up. So let's try 2 more of these. Hips are moving back. The length of your spine gets long. You might sense and feel a stretch in the posterior chain. And then back up. And we'll do 1 more. Slide your hands all the way down. They might go as low as your shins. And then all the way up. So that last one was a little more range of motion if that felt good. We're gonna pick up 2 weights and mimic that move, and the weights are gonna stay close to the legs. So the feet are about hip width apart, toes pointing forward. The hands are right on the lap again, but now you have your weights, and it's an inhale, hip hinge. Feel your knuckles drag against your thighs, maybe all the way to the shins, and then push in and lift. So go ahead and continue these. Down on the inhale and up on the exhale. If you try a few and you're not quite sure of that hinging action and you're not sensing and feeling in your glutes or hamstrings, you might want to put the weights down and just try a few more without the weights, and then slowly add weights. Down and exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. And exhale, lift. The other helpful thing is watching yourself in a mirror. Just looking to the side, just really trying to get this idea of the hips moving back as opposed to bending down from the waist. One more here. Down and push into your feet and rise up and shake that out. All right, so we've done the squat, we've done a row, we've done a hinging action, 2 for the lower body, 1 for the upper. Let's go into our second upper body move. Bring your weights down at the floor on the outer edges of your mat, and then you're coming down on the floor. This is going to be your pushing action. So we could do a push-up, which is also pushing action, but we're going to start with a press with the weights. So join me on the floor all the way down on your back body. Take your time getting there. And if once you get down all the way, you feel like you need something, some support for your head, you could always grab something and pull it in. And then take a moment here on the floor for a couple of breaths, just kind of letting your shoulder blades settle down. Feel really supported by the back of your sacrum on the floor. Your feet are on the floor. Just get a sense of arriving. One more deep breath in and out. And go ahead and find your weights by your sides. And then pick them up and then just move your arms by your side. So the elbows are in by your rib cage. And then all it is a nice firm press to the ceiling, exhale, and then an inhale, lower. Exhale, press. Inhale, lower. Exhale, press. Inhale, lower. That's it. So here's your first pushing exercise. And you'll notice I'm pausing a little at the top. You could try that too. A little bit of that press, punch the ceiling, pause, and then begin the lowering phase. Good. Again, press and lower. All right, let's finish up here with 2 more. And 1 more. Good. And then all the way down with the elbows and all the way down with the weights. And just take a moment to wiggle out the wrists and the fingers and the hands. And then I'm just going to move the weights out of the way a little bit. You can do the same because we're going to roll onto our sides. Face you first. Your knees will be bent. They'll be pulled up at a 90 degrees, hips 90, knees 90. That top arm is going to come back. So here's our rotation. You might support the head, neck with the underneath arm. Top arm reaches back. You're going to turn and look towards it. You don't have to turn and see it, but just turn the head with it. Good. If you have a pillow, support the whole head roll on the pillow, and then bring that top arm back to the front. Good. So let's try it again. You can try to keep the knees stacked. You might even kind of give the top leg a little downward squeeze, seeing if you can get some more rotation out of that. Take a breath here. And then bring it back. All right, so 1 more just like that. We'll do our last spinal rotation, reaching back. Maybe sealing the legs up with that downward pressure of the top leg, letting the head and neck go to the same reach side. Take the breath in and out. And then bring the arm again all the way front. Good. So before we go into side 2, just go ahead and gently roll onto your back. Get your arms out from underneath your head and kind of wiggle your shoulder blades in their back pocket. And take a little bit of a windshield wipe here, where you're just going to let the knees toggle side to side. And then meet me in the middle with the feet about sits bones distance apart. And then we'll do a pelvic tilt here. All it is taking your low back hugging it to the floor with abdominal bracing. You're going to feel the back ribs down, and then you might soften out of that experience. And again, the hip points draw up towards the bottom ribs. Good. And then you'll rock just gently back to relaxation. And then with this last one, again, hip points draw up. You might feel a little lift in the sits bones here as that low back hugs down, and you feel a little more engaged in the belly muscles. Good. Let that relax. All right, so side two, my back will be turned to you. You're going to stack your knees, support your head, neck, get that arm on top out, and then start to carry it up. And as you reach back, take your gaze with you. Pause there for a moment. Explore that stretch. And then slowly start to rotate back. Top arm ends up parallel to the floor in front. And then again, reach up. You might give your knees a squeeze together, or certainly the top one might squeeze down. Reach, pause, take the breath. And then slowly bring it back. All right, so one more right here. Here's our final one. Good, work your way back. Support yourself in any way you want. Pause there. Really get a sense of what's stretching, where maybe you're able to relax a little. And then again, that top arm will return to the front. And go ahead, find your way back onto your back spine, and then wiggle your shoulder blades underneath you. And maybe I'm kind of just marching my hips around, finding a little bit of centering for my pelvis. You might try that as well. And we're going to move right into that abdominal exercise, I promise. So pelvic tilt first. Feel your low back really connect with the floor. And then be light on your feet when you do this. So you want to think about this efforting coming from the center as opposed to pushing into your legs. So light on your feet, the glutes are loose, and you're just hugging that low back down. And then you're going to let that relax. Again, exhale, low back hugs, light on the feet. Bring your chin down towards your chest a little if your head is tipped back. And then release. And then we're going to hold this pelvic tilt. So you're going to find the pelvic tilt, hold. And then what you're going to do is bring your right thigh bone towards your right ribs and start to reach the leg away. Maybe the heel just goes out a little and you're going to come back in. The low back stays down. Maybe your leg extends out far and then you pull back in, inhale. The left foot is light on the floor, but you're down in your low back with abdominal tone. So remember, that right leg might not reach all the way out. It might come down a little bit, and then you might feel like your back wants to pop, so then you would stop there and come back. Again, the thigh bone moves away from the ribs, and then maybe that's plenty, and back up. So 2 more here, maybe in the fullest expression with that big reach out, ribs are down, so they're nice and slow. So you get an idea of what we're going for here. Really toning, firming, bracing the core, the belly muscles, abdominals, good. Last one. Bring the foot down and then come out of the pelvic tilt. You might take a little windshield wipe. You might march around. You might even feel like, oh, I just want to hug my knees and get a good stretch on my back muscles. That might feel good too. Go ahead and try to give yourself the gift of a small recovery here. Finish out your stretch and then we'll set up side 2. So remember, first what we do is low back ribs down. We try to be light in the feet, so we're bracing the core with abdominals here. And then you're going to go left leg up. And then the left thigh bone moves a little bit away from left ribs. You're opening up that hip crease, if you will, opening up the hip angle, thigh bone away. That might be plenty. Might be like, okay, it's perfect. I'm getting a little more load in the core, but you might also try to explore the leg out and then bringing it back in. So as you go, just be mindful of the right foot, how much pressure is in the right leg, the one that's down, and see if you can be super light on that foot. So whichever foot you have down, if you're on the same side as me, it's your right, and you're going to try to have your foot really light, but the back of the ribs heavy. Good. All right, 2 more. Maybe feeling it a little bit in the belly. Inhale back. 1 more. All right. Finish that last one and then decide what would be a good recovery. Maybe a little toggle side side. Maybe some knee circles here. Certainly some deep breaths, maybe some ankle rotations as you say good afternoon, good morning to your hamstrings. Maybe a hug of the knees. And then go ahead and come out. You could roll to your side and rock up to seated. All right. So that is a very brief Strength Training 101. You've got your squat. You have a pulling exercise we did after the squat. You have a hip hinge where you're using that posterior chain, and then you're able to either add a little bit of load with your dumbbells or not, up to you. Your elbows stay straight on that one. Then we're down on the floor for a push, right? So you're gonna push the weights up towards the ceiling. We have a little bit of that rotation laying on the side, and then just a little bit of abdominal work. This is the perfect, not sure quite how long it turned out to be, I'll have to check that, but it's the perfect short workout, a little bit of a strength training routine. If you're in a hurry, you're on the go, and as you do this, just keep exploring how much load you want to add. If it's getting easier and easier after a couple weeks at the same weight, you certainly can add a little bit more weight. You can also make a generous weight by crisscrossing the weight on top of one another and making a stronger weight. So let me know what you thought. Let me know if you want more of this, because this is the very basics. We can build on it. We certainly do build on this. If you are more advanced and looking for more strength training, our Women on Weights class, which is Monday night online, has been happening since the COVID shutdown. So we are 2020 and on strong, 5 years in. I would love to see you in that group. Just go ahead and send me an email. I can tell you how that works. And I can do some more of this for you as well on YouTube. So take good care, everyone. Happy strength training. Send me your questions. All right.